Now, first, Naveed and his father Sajid had travelled to the Philippines prior to the shootings. What more do we know about that?
As it said in the report, they arrived on the 1st of November and they left on the 25th of November. It is believed that they headed south to a military-style training camp where they received the training that they would require to carry the attack that they undertook. So this is still speculation, but this is what is believed has happened, that they flew from Australia and arrived in the Philippines. The father travelling on Indian passport. The son was born in Australia, so he was travelling on an Australian passport. Both of them spent 24 days in the Philippines before returning to Australia.
Part of the Philippines has been that hotbed for terrorist training, and this has not been a new development. What do we know about some of their other movements? Because, as you said, they've been in there for almost the entire month of November before coming back to Australia in December, and then just a short time later, they take this shocking, heinous event at Bondi and kill 15 people.
But very little is known publicly about the family. The son did go to a mosque that is under investigation and has been an ongoing investigation by Australian authorities. Extremist cleric involved in that mosque. So it's believed that maybe he was at that mosque and may have gone to the Philippines where he received training. Now, it is still unclear whether the two of them were acting alone as a pair or they were acting under orders from a group in the Philippines with links to ISIS and Daesh.
So we've been looking in the not too distant past, and you have heard of this. So we know that Naveed Akram has awoken from his coma. That's what we're hearing at the moment. What will happen next?
So currently he's under police guard in hospital. He has, in the last few hours, woken from his coma, and police are very anxious to talk to him because now the investigation takes a turn towards him. His father is dead. So now the investigation really is going to focus in on what he did in the lead up to the attack and what he did through the attack, or alleged to have done. So now what they'll look at is who did he shoot? What bullets came from his gun? So what happens now is they'll look at who he shot, how many people he killed, if any, and that will determine how the prosecution then act going forward. Will he be charged with murders, or will he be charged with attempted murders? That all still remains to be worked out by the police. They're scouring the area, down on their hands and knees, looking for bullet cases, looking for everything they can so they can work out who shot who.
Both Prime Minister Anthony Albanese as well as Premier Chris Minns have vowed to introduce tougher gun laws. What exactly could we see?
Well, at the moment, Australia does have one of the toughest gun laws in the world, and every gun owner must be licensed. They go through police checks. So what they're looking at now is maybe no foreign national will be able to acquire guns in Australia. Maybe there will be checks and updates. So getting your license doesn't mean you can have a gun forever. There could be limits. I mean, this pair had 6 guns, and you have to be a member of a rifle club to have guns, but there's no limit on how many you can have at the moment. So they're looking at putting limits on how many you can have, the type of firearms you can have, where the firearms are kept. Maybe they're kept at the club and not at the home, which then would mean that you couldn't take them out, and this sort of thing couldn't happen on the streets. So this is New South Wales. So because Australia is state-run, every state will have their own laws. So Anthony Albanese, as Prime Minister, can recommend stuff, but he can't enforce it. Each state has its own gun laws.
Now, Craig, vigil continuing to be held at Bondi Beach, including those who are mourning one of the most tragic of those deaths, the 10-year-old girl, Matilda. What is the mood like in the country and across Australia, from Sydney all the way to places like Perth?
So many others have watched this unfold on the television. I'm not in Sydney. And today, the grandfather of the 10-year-old girl went to the site of the shooting, and he was so overcome that he collapsed at the sight of the flowers. And he just said he has no more tears. He just cannot comprehend what has happened to his family. So these stories are heartbreaking. Australia's heart is broken at the moment in a country where they never thought this type of thing would really happen. I mean, you see it happening around the world and you think it's never going to happen on the shores of Australia. But it has. And the country is shocked and heartbroken. But in the days now, we're moving sort of a few hours and days away from the actual event. The sorrow is turning to anger. How can this happen? How can the government have let these people slip through the net? And the 24-year-old son, he was on a watch list. They interviewed him. The Australian Federal Police interviewed him some years ago and decided he wasn't a threat. So what has happened? Why has this let slip through the cracks? They're the questions people are asking. Then on the other hand, GoFundMe pages have been set up. The GoFundMe page for the hero, Ahmed El-Ahmed, he has now, I think it's up to $2 million has been donated to him. He's in hospital undergoing surgery. Now, he took down the father, and the father was shooting with a rifle, and he tackled him from behind and took the rifle off the father. So a GoFundMe page was set up for him. And he's still going under more surgeries over the next few days. And also for the family of the 10-year-old girl, there's quite a lot of money being put into a GoFundMe page for her. So, but now the questions are really around how could the government let this happen in Australia?
And finally, Craig, still seeing misinformation and disinformation being posted on social media, even though it's now been some time since the shootings happened?
Oh, the Indian social media has gone into overdrive. As soon as they saw the names, the continent names, let's blame Pakistan. So the Indian media went into overdrive to say, look, Pakistanis attacking Australians. There's Pakistanis attacking. They didn't know. They just looked at a name and assumed that it might be from Pakistan. It could have been several countries. But India decided to send out misinformation. Undoing false news and misinformation is very hard. Once it gets into people's heads, it's very hard. And India are very clever at blaming Pakistan for many events around the world. They blame it for in Kashmir, along the border with Afghanistan. India are really working to get out misinformation about Pakistan, and they saw this as an opportunity and they ran with it. But the world is now seeing that what India did was wrong, and India will be held to account.
One Voice, Vermay reporting live from Brisbane, Australia. Craig, once again, thank you so much for your time.